Last April's wildfires in Exeter burned nearly 600 acres of the Queen River Nature Preserve. In this installment of Fire Science, Kelly Bates shows us how planned burning of Rhode Island forest lands helps make wildfires easier to tame.
When you think of forests, southern New England may not come to mind. But for folks like Patrick McMeekin, the wildfire supervisor for the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, it's a pretty big deal.
New England, Rhode Island is a giant forest. We're over 50% of the state is forest land.
Here on Nicholas Farm in Coventry, DEM maintains the forest here using prescribed burns. There are several reasons to send fire through an area in a controlled manner. Chief among them is to remove the bulk of the ground thatch and mid-level dead timber that would allow a fire to spread fast along the ground and ladder up into the treetops. That's what's happened in April in Exeter when an abandoned campfire was able to get up into the canopy where it is nearly impossible to control. The main reason for the controlled burning actually has to do with the critters that live here.
The primary objective of a lot of these burns is to promote wildlife habitat.
Consider this. Here in western Coventry is a concentration of critically endangered pitch pine trees. Pitch pines compete for resources with the invasive white pine, which grows faster and taller, shading out the native pitch pine. The pitch pine ecosystem is critical habitat for animals like rare moths, butterflies, and rabbits. It is also a fire-adapted ecosystem. The pitch pine barrens actually depend upon the occasional fire to come through in order to sustain the forest type. Prescribed burnings here also help with the invasive southern pine beetles, as well as the white pine problem.
Pitch pine, because they have a really thick bark and a thick cambium layer, they're resistant to fire. The white pine has a very thin bark and thin cambium layer, so as fire comes through, it kills the white pines, but the pitch pines remain unaffected.
So how does one control burning fields and forests made of combustible materials? Well, the weather plays a big part. Ideal weather conditions for the controlled burning include humidity of 20 to 30%. Not too dry to control, but not too wet to burn. Light winds below 20 miles per hour keep the burn from wandering out of the area, and the moisture content of the material to be burned should not be bone dry to keep control of the burn rate.
By burning during periods of favorable weather conditions, we can burn in a controlled manner and remove the fuel component so that during periods of really high fire danger, if there was a fire, again, coming through an area, that would be low in intensity.
After the fire, nature responds robustly. This particular area was burned 3 weeks ago, and just look at the verdant landscape. Even the residents are impressed. In Coventry, Kelly Bates, ABC 6.